Hello friends, JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan, and today I have a bold promise for you. Listen up. I promise I won't waste your time, but I need you to bear with me. I need you to stay through this entire video because I promise that if you listen to this video and it impacts you the way it impacted me when I learned this concept, then you will never struggle with willpower when it comes to losing weight. If you haven't seen me before, I am a professional fitness life coach and I've been in the world of transformations for 23 years and I think I've seen it pretty much all. And I've learned something interesting. I've learned that there are two forces in life that move things in a positive way or in a negative way. Force number one is pain. We are mostly motivated by pain, right? Because our old brains are used to responding to the immediate. So let me explain. When I say pain, it is the need to avoid pain. So you want to avoid sickness, you want to avoid losing a job, you want to maybe avoid the loss of good reputation. Maybe, people think well about you and you will do anything in your power to maintain that reputation, right? And so you have this pain of losing that reputation, the way people think about you, right? And you're willing to do so much to avoid that pain. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons you get out of bed every single day is not necessarily because you're so motivated by your career, but instead the back of your brain is constantly working you and saying, if you don't go to work, you'll end up in the street, right? You won't have a roof over your head. You won't have food on the table. And that's a motivator to get you out of bed every single day. One of the reasons why most people, when they go to the doctor and they get a bad doctor's report, they instantly change all the bad habits they had before is because they have that motivator called pain. Pain is a great motivator, and it's one of the ones that we pay the most attention to. Force number two is pleasure, right? It is the desire to gain pleasure. Now, this is a motivator. These are things that we are encouraged, enlightened. These are the things that we want to move in that direction because it just feels good, right? So maybe in terms of losing weight and decreasing body fat percentages, maybe it's looking great. Maybe you have a desire to just look great, right? And then you're willing to do X, Y, Z in order to look great. Or maybe you want to feel great. Maybe you have this desire. Maybe you've been sick before and you understand that being sick sucks. And so you just want to be on the complete other side of that. You want to be on the opposite spectrum of the way you felt at one point. And you have this desire, right, to gain pleasure in the direction of feeling great. Maybe you feel that if you lose this weight, you decrease this body fat percentages, that you're actually going to gain some status. Believe it or not, people will go above and beyond to gain status inside of a circle of influence. Maybe you have friends that have always seen you as the big girl or the big boy, and you're like, you know what? I want to look different. I want to go to that reunion. I want to go to that event, and I want people to just be wowed by my change. And so you're willing to do anything for that gain of pleasure, right? You want to change your status. And so these are the two forces that we're constantly battling, the desire to avoid pain, the desire to gain pleasure, and we're constantly just kind of working those two things. And here's what's interesting. When we learn to play with those levers, with those buttons, we can pretty much accomplish anything that we set before us. Hear me out. This kind of calls for a little bit of some mind tricks, some Jedi tricks on your part, but trust me, if you play all out and you follow through on this thing, that when I first encountered it, I started playing with it in all certain directions for my career and my relationships and my physical body and my mind, and I just wanted to expand and excel, and I started to play with these pain and pleasure buttons, and I started to see progress like never before. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you ask yourself 3 powerful questions, but hear me out. You can't just ask the question, right? You can't just be nonchalant about asking this question. You actually have to put some emotion, some thought, and become very introspective and truly try to bring a vision to your mind of this question, okay? Question number 1, what happens if I remain the same for the next 5 years? Let's say you're 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds overweight. Ask yourself the question, if you're 35, what would happen if you 5 years from now at 40 were still the same, right? And the answer can't be, well, I'm just fat. No, because if you are overweight right? Year after year, your body is going to continue to deteriorate. It's not going to stay stagnated. If we're not feeling well, if we're overweight, if our body fat percentages are high, the older we get, the more difficult it gets. So paint a dark picture. This is, if you know me, you know I'm a positive guy, but this is where I'm going to say, I need you to play with those dark levers of like, okay, what happens if I stay the same for the next 5 years? Okay, that's question number one. Question number two, how will this impact my family? Maybe you have a family, maybe you're married, maybe you're not there yet, but we all have an immediate circle of influence. How would this impact your circle of influence? Okay, maybe it's your family, right? And once again, paint a dark picture. If things aren't looking good right now, what are your kids? What is your spouse actually? What are the issues that they can actually have because you didn't take care of XYZ area of your life, right? How is this going to impact them? Number three, what kind of example am I setting for those around me? My friends, I don't know about you, but I have 2 daughters and a wife, and I wake up every day with the desire to be the best example I can possibly be in all areas of life. I feel an extreme sense of responsibility over that, and that leads me to do some things that are supernatural, okay? Because I want to set a good example. If this principle is as important to you, and you can truly, truly close your eyes and think about that, am I setting a good example right now with the way I'm stewarding my body, with the way that I'm treating my health? Am I an example of motivation? Am I an inspiration towards being proactive? Ask yourself those questions and get super honest, right? And if you connect emotionally to these 3 questions that we just asked, number 1, what happens if I stay like this for 5 more years? How am I impacting my family? Am I setting a good example for my circle of influence? Ask those 3 questions and bring some emotionality behind it, and you're going to see some things radically change. I also want to give you 3 actions, 3 powerful actions that you can set in the direction of getting things going in the right way. Okay. Number 1, you want to create an account. Okay. I call this a growth account. Now, this is not the growth account that your bank, PNC, Bank of America, or whoever you bank with has for investing. Okay. This is more an account that you're going to set aside. It's called a growth account because I want you to invest it in yourself. One of the best investments that you could ever have is investing in yourself, right? That is for books, courses, mentors, coaches. And that's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to set some money aside. Every month, I want you to put a couple $100. If you can do that, put it aside, okay? And when you're ready, I want you to hire the best coach that you can afford. Hear me out. Not the cheapest coach, not the coach that is comfortable for you to hire. I want you to actually go outside of your comfort zone. I am not one for getting into debt or motivating people to get into debt, but I'm here to say that if you truly, truly want to excel, right? Maybe the physical aspect is sort of motivating for you, but it's not a big thing because maybe you look okay already, right? You feel pretty comfortable where you are. But hear me out. I always say this. One of the ways to move any area of your life in a positive direction is to actually invest in your body, right? Because when you activate your physiology, when you're eating the right nutrients, that actually shifts and moves most things inside of your life in a very, very positive way. So maybe it is weight loss, okay? So hire the best coach that your money can buy. Here's why. You're gonna get stretched, okay? And that's exactly what you wanna do. You wanna get uncomfortable because when you pay attention. The first coach I ever hired cost $16,000, and I was trembling when I invested this money because I didn't know if I was going to get a return on investment. And I had buyer's remorse. I got sick. I got physically sick. I was so worried. But guess what? The $16,000 came back 100-fold, and still to this day, I reap the benefits of that investment. Okay, so this is why I tell you with all confidence. Hire a coach and hire the most expensive one, not just the most expensive one, but the best one you can hire, okay? That coach is gonna set a goal for you, right? It's important to know exactly what you want, right? Clarity is power. Then that coach is going to set steps in place, activities that you're going to do on a daily basis that are going to help you achieve that goal, that picture that you have. And then lastly, you want to set a date, okay? You want to give yourself a timeline, give yourself enough time, but set a timeline so that every day you know that you just can't sit idle. You're always moving in the direction of that goal. Friends, if you do all these things that I just mentioned, if you play with those pain and pleasure buttons, okay? If you set aside some money, if you hire a coach, you get yourself outside of your comfort zone, you make yourself uncomfortable with that investment. You set a goal, you establish some steps, and you set a date. I promise you that willpower, right, will be something natural to you, right? You'll be able to superimpose your willpower. You're going to lose weight, decrease body fat percentages. And here's the beautiful thing. This is not just an aesthetic destination. I promise that when you get better physically, all other aspects of your life will also go well for you, okay? This is a bold promise, but you have to trust me on this one. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I'm passionate about this realm because I truly believe that if you activate your physiology and you bring the right nutrients in, you get the right thoughts. And remember, we think, we feel, and we act. If we think, we feel, and we act in the right direction, we create good habits. If we create consistent good habits, we create a good character. And from there, we create an incredible life. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, you're gonna absolutely love this video here. JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.